day to all my viewers. Today I'm going to take you through a special journey, a very special journey indeed. In my 17 years in this beautiful country, I have seen it grow day by day. It has been such a privilege to be a resident of Muscat, the capital of Oman. Thousands of Indian residents as well as many other nationalities stay here and contribute towards the progress of this beautiful country. Nowhere else would I have got an opportunity to see nation being built year after year into a completely modern state. Since 2004 till 2021, it's been such a wonderful journey. I have with me Muscat Daily, and I'm so proud to see the headlines. First Omanis satellite in space in 2022. Sultanate committed to low carbon economy and emissions. This is the state that Oman is today. But let me take you back to more than 50 or 60 years. With me today, I have a huge coffee table book, Reflections from Not So Distant Past in Oman, by the historian, photographer, artist, portrait maker, Eugene H. Johnson. Dr. Eugene H. Johnson, professor at university and now retired, has compiled about 500 oral stories. Should I call them stories? Because they have the most wonderful black and white photography, the portrait of the Omani citizen who has seen the change and has stories to tell. 500 stories which took over a decade just to write, and one after the other, the truth of the times was revealed by the person who went through the experiences. These are classics and these are oral histories. But you know what's beautiful? They are written so beautifully that they also count and are invaluable as pieces of literature. So thank you so much, Professor Eugene Johnson, for making these available for all of us here in Muscat. We keep saying we love Muscat, we love Oman, we keep saying it's one of the most wonderful countries. Today, let's find out a little more about the journey. Let me take you to the past by reading one of the stories from this collection. Good morning, friends. Oman celebrates its 51st National Day on November 18th. I'm going to take you through a journey of the past that has been about 50 or 60 years ago. Reflections from the not so distant past in Oman by Eugene H. Johnson, who has collected true stories as told by the people of Oman who suffered before the Renaissance. Ali Salman al-Shamal al-Ajmi. Ali stood in a dark corner of the one-room house made from date palm leaves and branches and watched as his father sat with eyes filled with liquid sorrow. The old man, unaware that his son was present, cried for what seemed to be an eternity from the perspective of a child. When Ali put his arms around his father's shoulders and asked what was troubling him, he received an answer that he knew was not in harmony with the truth. His father told him he had a bad headache, but his son knew better. His father had suffered far too many headaches of late. He had become depressed because he had nothing to offer his family to eat. His mother had a different approach to life. When she had nothing to prepare for dinner, she informed her sons that she was boiling meat that was a bit tough and that it would take some time before it would be ready. The boys were told to go to sleep and she would wake them when the food had finished. To dress her story with credibility, she put a large pot of water on the fire and in place of meat, she added stones. The stones never became tender and the boys were never told to wake up and have their dinner. It was until many years later that Ali realized that his mother simply did not want to inform them that once again she had nothing for her sons to eat. It was not only food that was difficult to obtain. Jobs were very far and few. At times, Ali's father walked to Dubai to get a paying job with only a few dates and water to sustain him along the way. He worked at any job that resulted in any form of payment, including farming, collecting firewood, and transporting goods by donkey. There was no work that could and would not be done if it would provide a meal, a single meal for the family. Often he stayed in Dubai for 4 months and dived for pearls. At the end of the period, he would earn 100 rupees. More often than not, the money was used to pay off his creditors. Because the family had to borrow constantly, any monies received invariably went to pay off these debts. Their clothes were stitched again and again, and their bodies were feeble, breeding grounds for lice. At times, they wore old rice sacks, and in desperation, they had no choice besides going to their neighbors and begging for old clothes. Suffering was the norm during these times. Ali never forgot the story of a woman who died. Her clothes were cast into the sea. One day, a man found them miles away. He dried the articles of clothing on the shore, folded them neatly, and carried them home to present to his wife. She was overcome with joy upon receiving the gift and in gratitude kissed her husband's forehead and thanked God for her blessings. Unlike his 6 brothers, Ali was never able to go to a Quranic school. Ali was the youngest brother, and by the time he was old enough to attend, life was far too difficult even to contemplate the thought of idling away hours in a classroom when every hand was needed to assist in finding the most basic elements of life, food and shelter. By the time Ali was 6 years old, his father had passed away. It was not clear if he was physically sick or taken away by chronic sadness. 2 years later, his mother joined him, and their aunt came to the rescue of Ali and his 6 brothers. Ali's first job was on a farm that was endowed to the community by some of the better off families. Ali collected the date palm fronds and weaved them together to make roofs or slabs to dry dates on. He received a maximum of 25 bazaars per day and sometimes was paid in food rather than cash. Ali rented a piece of land and received half of the dates produced. The other half was given to the endowment. Over years, he planted 220 date palm trees by himself and raised each and every one of them to maturity. Every morning and evening, Ali collected water and irrigated his trees until they were productive. Assured that they would survive, he made the decision to travel to Kuwait and seek a paying job. It was agreed that his brothers would care for the farm while he was away. Ali did not have enough funds to pay for transportation to Muscat, so he walked the entire way, a 3-day trip that today takes 2 hours by car. He boarded a ship and after 3 days arrived in Kuwait. His first job was on a cargo ship owned by a Kuwaiti. He was one of the 20 sailors on board and was assigned to take care of the sails. When they stopped at any port, the sailors were expected to clean the entire vessel. For 16 years, Ali never returned to Oman as he wanted to have sufficient money to be able to live one day with dignity in his home country. On one of his trips to India, he met the parents of several eligible girls. They asked him if he would like to marry one of their daughters. The girls were paraded in front of him in the hope that he would consider one of them. He opted for the one he thought most beautiful. The captain of the ship covered all the expenses, including the dowry of 35 rupees. Ali stayed in India for 1 year, but shortly before his departure, he told his wife to stay at her parents' house because he explained he did not trust those sailors. Ultimately, Ali realized that he had to return to Oman and divorced his wife so that she could carry on with her life. When Ali arrived, the Second World War had begun, and with an element of good fortune, he was able to find work clearing landing strips on the island of Masira. The job was extremely exhausting, but he received a decent salary of 27 rupees per month along with the hidden bonus that was food provided to him. At the end of the war, he returned to the mainland and resumed working on his farm. Ali discovered that people at the time were so desperate for money that they searched for any means to get cash. The payment of dowries was a good financial resource. As Ali had been able to save a considerable amount of money, he exploited his good fortune and married his cousin and shortly thereafter 2 more women. Each wife was given her own house to maintain. His 4 sons and 1 daughter will never see him cry because he cannot feed them. Nor will their mothers have to boil stones and pretend they are cooking meat. These are the best times, and his children will never know what he and others went through to ensure that they would live and experience